Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for the last match of the day in the Sevens, and it is Argentina versus South Africa. Whoever wins this game will face New Zealand in the semi-finals of the LA Sevens. The loser of this contest, well, they will go on to face up against the Spanish. Those are the two sides that have been confirmed through to the next stage. It seems like the second half of Great Britain versus France is just about to start, which does mean we're probably about 10 minutes away from the start of this contest. But a few of the other matches have already been confirmed. In terms of the women's draw, it will be Australia versus Canada in the semis and New Zealand versus USA and the other. Now, the men's Australian side narrowly missing out on the next final, or on the next stage of the competition as well. You could say a few of the other matches have yet to be confirmed in terms of the men's side, but these are the results we see here. We'll confirm a few of them, but looking through at the starting lineups for these two sides. For the Argentinians, it will be Lautaro Bazin Velez, Augustin Fraha. They have got Luciano Gonzalez, Santino Zangara, Matteo Graziano, Germain Schultz, and Santiago Verafel. Now, they are missing two massive names, and that is due to the injuries that we saw last matchup. Marcos Maneta is not going to be making his way off the bench. I believe they are also going to be missing Santiago Mari. So I don't know what the extent will be of those injuries. Santiago Mari's one looked a lot more serious. Seemed to have some sort of strapping on the knee. So he will more than likely be out for not just tomorrow, but also for quite a few games to come. Whereas Marcos Maneta, he took that shot to the eye. His lower eyelid swelled up. Swelled up? Guess that's the word for it. Like a balloon. Poof was pretty much what it looked like. So not ideal for Mr. Money Moneta. But hopefully he'll be all right tomorrow, as I feel like Argentina certainly do need him in some of these later games. Now, like I mentioned, this game, yes, it is an important one, but at the end of the day, you know, you're still through to the semis. You're either playing New Zealand or Spain, either way. And some would even argue that losing this game is more beneficial, because you will be facing a Spanish side that, yes, they have been consistent, but every once in a while, they have an absolute shocker of a game. They haven't had one yet, although they were defeated by the Australians, and they had narrow victories over New Zealand and Australia also. But currently, France are leading up against Team GB, 7 points to 5. Tomorrow, we will also get to see the other matches taking place of the lower-ranked teams, such as Samoa, Kenya, Portugal, etc., all playing off for their spot in Division 2. And in terms of the starting lineup for the South Africans, it is Kua Nokia, Ryan Ustays, and Saviwe Soyas Wapi, Ronald Brown, Mpundo Ndlovu, Zane Davids, and Ricardo James Duarte. So a couple changes for the South Africans here too. Shilton van Wyk out of the starting lineup. Selvin Davids the same, so they've decided to just mix and match a bit. And once again, similar to what I said about this Argentine side, it's about giving guys a bit of a chance, just in case you do need to rely on them in the later stages of the competition. Now, whoever does win this game, like I mentioned, they will be facing up against New Zealand. In terms of the time that that game will be taking place, kickoff for the semi-finals in the men's side of things. First game for the Spain side, whoever is able to lose this contest, they will be playing at 8:24 a.m. New Zealand time. That is 10:24 p.m. for you guys in South Africa. And then for the next game, whoever wins this contest, they will face New Zealand. And that is going to be a kickoff of 8:46 a.m. New Zealand time, 10:46 for you guys in South Africa. The final taking place at the lovely hour of 12:41 p.m. New Zealand time. That is nice for us, but it will be about a 2:40 a.m. kickoff for you guys in the north and in SA. But if the Blitzboks are through to that final, I'm sure there will be a lot of people do want to support them. Now, after the game that we saw between Spain and New Zealand, there's a part of me that hopes that either both sides lose or both sides win in the semi-final. There was a bit of push and shove. There seems to be a lot of tension between those two sides. So the best way to fix that is to just keep on making them play each other till they either completely hate both sides or manage to somehow get along. In terms of this matchup, we are not too far away from the start. Only 3 minutes remaining in the France versus Great Britain game. And since I mentioned about France having some points, they have gone and got themselves an extra 2 tries in very quick succession. But off the benches, I mentioned already about Shilton Van Wyk and Selvin Davids for the Blitzboks. They have also got Tristan Lades, they've got David Brits, and they have got Xander Reinders, Tobias Wade, Santiago Alvarez, Matthias Adutsuk, and Pellandini, the 4 replacements. So 3 of those guys were in the starting lineup in the last contest for Argentina, but they feel like they've done the hard yards now, and now they can just enjoy being in a playoff game up against the South Africans to determine who will finish first. But either way, you're still making it to the semi-finals, and both sides, I feel, have a very good shot of being able to win the whole competition. But I hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you're all excited for this matchup, but also for the day of sevens that we have got tomorrow. It does start at 5 a.m. New Zealand time. I actually see that the South African women's side have been going not too badly, and funny enough, this is actually going to be the opening contest of tomorrow. So the men's Argentina versus South Africa closes out today. The women's South Africa versus Argentina will start it off for tomorrow. I believe Argentina have been struggling a little bit in terms of the women's side of things. They were, or in fact, well, both sides were able to beat Ireland, which I feel is not really ideal for this Irish team. Argentina, they were defeated by China 25-0. South Africa in their game up against China, I can't quite remember what it was, but I know that they were down at one point in that contest. They did lose in the end 26 points to 12, so it does seem like China top side out of that group. And then China versus Ireland, I can imagine it wouldn't have been too pretty for the Irish side. In fact, no, they might actually play tomorrow morning, so it could get a little bit better for Ireland if they can get the win. But already some great games taking place on the second field. A lot more of the games happening tomorrow don't really overlap. In fact, we've only got a couple in terms of the 7th place playoff games for the men's and the pool playoff games for the lower ranked women's sides. So I think that is the case in both regards. But I will mention whoever wins this match between Great Britain and France, I believe will face up against Australia. The loser of the contest will face Fiji, so more than likely we're going to see a Fiji versus Great Britain matchup there, and then Australia taking on the French, which is always a very entertaining one, and normally a passion-filled game too, but 15 seconds remaining in the match between France and Great Britain, 24 points to 5. So once again, anyone just tuning in, the lineups are as follows. The Taro Bazin Valles is in the starting side. He's had a lot of time off the bench throughout this competition. Augustin Fraha, Luciano Gonzalez, Santino Zangara, Matteo Graziano, Germain Schultz, and Santiago Verafeld, the last man in the Argentine starting side. For the South Africans, it is Kua Nokia, Ryan Oosterhuizen, Saviwe Soyezwapi, Ronald Brown, Mpondo Ndlovu, Zane Davids, and Ricardo James Duarte. So a couple big changes for both of these sides, but one thing is for sure, they both still have more than enough capabilities of being able to win this contest. South Africa, they've had a little bit of a slow start to most of their matches. I believe Great Britain were able to score themselves the first try up against Argentina, and then from there, Argentina went on to score another 4. Great Britain did get themselves the bonus point, though, at the end of that contest, and they have actually managed to score a try right at the end of this match up against the French. Whereas for the South Africans, they conceded 2 early tries up against the French, ended up managing to win that game 19 points to 10. So a brilliant comeback. And we have got there Passan link. I assume that is what's the link. So Rugby Pass TV, I believe, is your best bet. Now, depending on where you are in the world, will depend on your options for being able to watch these games. So I will mention it's not a guarantee, but what we will do here, hopefully, is if I go like this and like that, hopefully you will be able to check that out, and maybe it is available in the country that you're living in, unless they have already got some sort of broadcaster who is locked in for it. But yeah, the highlights are actually coming up onto the Seven circuit pretty much straight after the games have taken place too, which is great to see. We have there, did you watch any of the Under-20s Rugby Championship in South Africa? Is Aussie Rugby slowly coming back after the draw with the ABs, or do you reckon it's just me being hopeful? It's a bit of a tricky one, that game, because I do think that Australia deserved the draw for how they were able to fight back near the end of the game. I also do think that both sides, and it's almost a good thing for Australia too. I do think that both sides at times weren't at their best. So that's potential. But I do think that the big test will be them up against South Africa. Because if I remember rightly, did they push the South Africans last year in the Under-20 Rugby Championship? I can't even remember if we covered that game or we covered a different one, but it might be promising. I mean, we see what Joseph Suaalii is doing at the moment. He's just tearing it up. And now Muzzin Velez will kick this one off for the Argentines, and we are underway for the matchup that will determine who will be playing who. And at the semi-finals, a nice attack and run straight away from Ndlovu. Close to the sideline, Luciano Gonzalez is in this match, but Marcos Maneta and Santiago Mari are not. So that is a bit of a hit to this Argentine lineup. But one thing that we've learned is even when they're missing certain players, they still seem to be able to find a way through. But now it's going to be Ryan Oosterhuizen. Good tackle made on him. Around the halfway line. It does seem like the Blitzboks are starting this match a lot better than they did in their game up against France. Almost a little bit of accidental offside there for Zane Davids. And the counter-ruck coming from Argentina. Dragged down by Davids. Counter-ruck from Saviwe Suiwapi. But he doesn't get it back. Hamish, it's 3:50 here. Good morning. Don't be jealous. Be patient. Morning will dawn on you one day as well. Says return. Well, I mean, we've already had the morning for us here in New Zealand. Looked like a relatively nice day from what I saw. Now I'm going to be passing across Augustin Fraha, very close to the sideline, and his foot is in touch. So it will now be the line out for the South Africans. We see there Marcos Maneta. That eye is looking rough. It's pretty much swelled up to that point. He's given the thumbs up. I feel like he's trying to hide that eye. But yeah, it certainly is a bit of a shiner for Marcos Maneta, and he normally shines in a different way. Oh, Luciano Gonzalez, hamstring injury. That's not good. If they lose Gonzalez, Santiago Mari and Marcos Maneta, they might as well kiss the trophy goodbye. But it looks like they're actually going to take him off the field. That is for Tobias Wade. They do not want to risk him either in this matchup. At the end of the day, both of these sides are through to the semi-finals, but the Argentinians dropping like flies here, which is a massive concern. Let's go to the Blitzboks. Says Lilia B, and it will be thrown in by Ricardo James Duarte. Saviwe Suiwapi going across to the left-hand side. Ndlovu does build up a bit of steam, but he's tackled just outside of the 22-metre line. Counter-ruck coming from Argentina. No player rolling away. It looks like he's got a shoulder injury there, and they're going to cut through. Ronald Brown scores a try, but Argentina might have another injury to deal with. This is the worst possible time to be losing all of these guys. And another injury, Ish, says Lilia. And we have got the Lost Pumas look dangerous. The Box might battle. And we have got the Tatars away form has proven how big of a loss the injury to injury Max Jorgensen has been. Joseph Suaalii is a freak, but Max Jorgensen is such a smart player that the Tatars need, and honestly will make Suaalii even better. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that combination in action a little bit more. Because like Suaalii, for a guy who's just taken on rugby union, you can just tell that he's got pure talent from the get-go. Like, he's got the size, he's got the speed, and he's got a very bright future as long as he sticks with rugby union. We don't want to see a Roger Tuivasa-Sheck situation of doing it for a season and then going, no, I'm all right, and going back to the other code. But that is going to be the penalty going the way of Argentina after going down 7-0 at this stage of the contest. Looks like a back injury now for Ryan Oosterhuizen. This is a bit concerning to watch. At the moment, it seems to be every single minute someone has got some sort of injury. And I mean, that is the fatiguing nature of sevens when you're playing at such a frantic pace. In fact, it might be a rib here for Ryan Oosterhuizen, getting a bit of ice on it, but it looks like he wants to continue in this matchup. 3 minutes down at the moment. And yeah, does not look too happy at the moment. Ryan Oosterhuizen holding onto the ribs. Should be all right to go again. Jermaine Schultz hesitating in terms of passing that ball back, but Muzzin Velez does manage to link up nicely with Verefeld. Do they have enough replacements? I'm starting to wonder because they had 4 men who can come off the bench for Argentina, but they've already made one of those changes. It's going to be the penalty double blow the whistle and a yellow card here for South Africa. Repeat infringements. And them in a bit of trouble. Saviwe Suiwapi will be the man who does get yellow carded. He's actually had a few yellow cards recently. The trend at the moment seems to be Savue Wapi gives away penalties, Sullivan Davids misses tackles, and that is something that only has happened over about the last 5 legs of the Sevens. Before then, there used to be Savue Wapi wins penalties, Sullivan Davids makes last-ditch tackles and gets match-winning tries, but something's just changed in the dynamic of this Blitzboks team. It's a bit concerning at times, but it should still be strong enough, I believe, to at least make it through to the final, no matter who they face in the semi. Bazin Valles going to be feeding that ball in again, going off to the left-hand side with a pick and go. Now moving up to the 22-metre line for Augustine Fraha, getting shepherded towards the touchline. Manages to keep the ball in the field of play, though. That was almost an accidental knock on from Ricardo James Duarte. He might end up getting sent to the bin as well here. Zane Davids back across, Tobias Wade. Nice pass there. Jermaine Schultz goes between the posts. In fact, this time it is Fraha. And Graziano, who does score it. We got him in the end. Just took us 3 players to get there. I know it was one of the taller individuals in this Argentine side, and it was the assist for Jermaine Schultz, whose post-match interview I thoroughly enjoyed after the last matchup when they were able to get themselves the victory. The commentator pretty much said a few words for the people back in Spain in Portuguese or in Spanish, and he went, "Thank you," as if he didn't. And then afterwards you could hear him saying, "I don't understand the question," but a big run from Jermaine Schultz, and he will score the try. That is one thing that man knows how to do time and time again, and that is get over the try line. 117 career tries. But he has got himself another one there. His 7th of 2025. Perfectly weighted kick from Argentina. And Ronald Brown charging forward for that one. Maybe with the gap from the yellow card. Meant for a bit more miscommunication. Does end up winning that foot race as well and manages to close it out. Or at least almost close out the half. We've still got a little bit more time remaining, but a very nice try for Argentina being scored there. And once again, they're going to contest for it. This time, Jermaine Schultz not able to take it cleanly. Graziano does a knock it on. Will now be a scrum feed with 90 seconds remaining in the half. But it is a very handy tool that you can utilise in a game of 7 if you can just get it to the halfway line. Well, the halfway line, the 40-metre line. 10 metres from halfway, depending on how you look at it. During the power play, we saw 2 tries scored by Argentina, but now South Africa back to their full contingency of 7. Ricardo James Duarte from inside of the own 22 goes across to Ronald Brown, finds QR Nokia, who has pure speed out on the wing, but Argentina do well to shut him down early. Ryan Oosterhuizen across now to Savue. Sawyers Wapi wants to make up for that yellow card that he did receive moments ago. Mlovu tackled. 25 metres out. Great step from Ryan Oosterhuizen. The rib seems to be fine now. And scores the try between the sticks. That'll make it more than likely 14-14 heading into half-time. But that is the second try of his Sevens season. He's up to 47 in total. We saw someone else bring up the 50th try in an earlier on match that we covered. But just show and go the step and sold the defence the completely wrong way. Fantastically done by Ryan Oosterhuizen. Well, we'll go like this. We will go like that as well. But the conversion is good, making the score now 14-14 heading into halftime. So either of these sides still have more than enough potential of being able to win it. Argentina ranked first in the overall standings. South Africa are ranked 4th. We see Spain already through. They were ranked 3rd going into this round. The only team that haven't made it to the top 4 who were inside of that top 4 is actually Fiji, team that recently got themselves the win in the Singapore Sevens. You would have expected them to make it through to the semis, but Spain and New Zealand, the two teams that we're able to do so. We have got there. Hi, Hamish says, Albert, welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. We've got plenty more games coming up tomorrow as well. So if you guys are new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, as we will be keeping you guys updated with every game that has taken place, whether that's the men's or the women's. Semi-finals for tomorrow have already been confirmed on the women's side. Canada versus Australia, New Zealand versus USA. So a bit similar to what we have seen so many times in the past in terms of those chances of New Zealand playing Australia in the final, once again being relatively high. But in the men's side of things, I do think that South Africa and Argentina, whoever wins this game and whoever does go into that semi-final undefeated, will have a very good shot of taking out the comp. Currently 14-14 with 7 minutes left. The first game of sevens taking place at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. That is the South African women's side taking on the Argentinian women, which will be an intriguing game. Both sides were beaten by China, but also having a win over Ireland in their group stage fixtures. Also tomorrow, we have got the Champions Cup that we will be covering on the channel, the matchup between Toulouse and Bordeaux. Now Ronald Brown looks like he is just about ready to kick this one off for the second half. They did have 13 men on the field at one point in this contest due to South Africa getting the yellow card. That's a drop ball straight off the get-go for Graziano, and that has given South Africa the perfect attacking opportunity. Good attack and run from Ndlovu. And over the ball, Argentina managing to get the clean steal, looking for the offload back. And having a bit of a slip and a slide there for Bazan Valles, but now almost managed to find a gap. It is hard to do in this Blitzboks defence, who have had, in the past, one of the strongest defensive lines in the whole comp. At times it has slipped throughout this season, but when they are on form, they are so hard to get past. Oh, Saviwe Soyas-Wapi does a forward roly-poly, but Ndlovu does not roll away. So another penalty going against the South Africans in the breakdown. Been very unlucky so far, Sheikh Soyas-Wapi. One will be kicked into touch. About 43 metres out from their own line here for Argentina. They will have the line out. Seeing a couple more slightly... Oh, this is, I believe, the wrong decision here. Luciano Gonzalez will make his way back out onto the field. Now, if I was the coach here, which I am not, but if one of my key players for the upcoming contest had a hamstring injury in this game, I'm not bringing him back out for the last 6 minutes, because win, lose or draw here, either way you're making it through to the semi-finals, so you don't have to worry about that per se. Winner faces up against New Zealand, loser faces Spain. Thanks, Hamish, at 4 in the morning. Can't question my dedication. Or maybe I'm just awake from a pain after tooth extraction, says Return. You know, that would keep you awake for a little while, I think. Looking for the counter-ruck there for Argentina. Just losing the footing in the end for Santiago Alvarez. Actually had a decent crack at it, but then his teammate actually pushed him forward. Ronald Brown, wide cut-out pass, going out to Shilton Van Wyk, who did make his way off the bench. He's going to be tackled well there by Argentina too. Fraha going for a bit of a counter-ruck, and they do play at the 9, which means that it is going to be the penalty going the way of the Blitzboks. Ronald Brown tackled low, doesn't find the offload to the right. Shilton Van Wyk shifts left, passes on the outside to Ndlovu, and he will be 1 metre short of the try line. Counter-ruck attempted there by Los Pumas, and Saviwe Soyas-Wapi will go in for the try. Not a smart move, says Lilia B. That is now career try number 159 for Saviwe Soyas-Wapi there. That is an extremely important one to get, definitely at this stage of the competition. And you're just picking it perfectly for Ricardo James Duarte. Argentina took a bit of a risk in that breakdown by committing a few extra men, trying to get that counter-ruck. Duarte was aware and found Saviwe Soyas-Wapi with the pass. An important kick at the post, but it does miss away to the side. It does make the score now 19 points to 14 with 4 minutes left on the clock. See there for the all-time try scorers for South Africa. He is sitting 4th at the moment. So Nutley at the top, Cecil Africa in 2nd. Still about 20 or so between Saviwe Soyas-Wapi and 3rd place. Oh, a bit more ground to make up and almost got himself another steal there. Yes, he did, and a penalty does go the way of South Africa. And the fact that he's trying those ones, even after getting a yellow card, it's a pretty big risk. But as a veteran player, he still backs his ability to be able to get that steal. South Africa opt to go for the scrum here rather than kicking for the corner or taking the quick tap, trying to control this game and the speed that it is being played at. Santiago Alvarez just having a big chat here with the referee. I'm not sure what it was about, but didn't seem too happy about something. Now scrum about to be put in by Ricardo James Duarte. That's a counter scrum there from Argentina, but the penalty does go the way of the Blitzboks yet again. Ronald Brown now, good attack and run, puts the pass on the outside. It's a 2-on-1. Shilton Van Wyk with the ball on the inside. Lades unselfishly gives it back to Shilton Van Wyk. He probably would have gotten it himself, but he didn't want to take the risk. And gets the big high five from Shilton Van Wyk. And when I mentioned earlier on about someone bringing up their 50th try in this competition, it was actually him. He's now sitting on 51 after scoring that one. It was the inside pass. But yeah, very smart from Tristan Lades, because looking at that replay, I think he actually would have been bundled into touch had he tried to score it himself. So a very smart move to get that ball away. That one has missed the post yet again, so that'll make the score 24 points to 14. Currently, the way that this table sits, South Africa would go through as first ranked, so they would face New Zealand in the semi-final. On the other side of the draw, it will be Argentina versus Spain. Now, going across here, it's going to be Selvin Davids, carves through. Oh, jersey grabbing from Graziano. Wasn't enough to slow him down. And that is now 3 tries in quick succession for this South African team. They are on form heading into the semi-finals. It seems to be the first half. They don't seem to quite find their rhythm, but as soon as those guys off the bench start to make their way on, in this case with a tired Argentina and a fresh Selvin Davids, that has been a recipe for some pretty dangerous play. And now scoring his 96th try for Selvin Davids. So a lot of milestones just around the corner for these South African players. That kick is missed again. That's now 3 kicks in a row. They haven't quite found their way over, but 29-14 should be enough. Win other semis. Says return a cool story, bro. So at the moment, if you're looking at the South African time zone, it will be Spain versus the winner of this game, or sorry, the loser of this game, which in this case at the moment looks like Argentina. That is at 10:24 p.m. South African time. And then the New Zealand versus South Africa semi, which is looking like it's shaping up that way, will be at 10:46 p.m. South African time. So hopefully that does help a little bit in terms of when they are taking place. For us here in New Zealand, though, they will be early morning matches. Just after 8 a.m. Palandini about to feed the ball in for Argentina. They will take that free kick. And the thing is, they've had a little bit of an advantage over Spain in recent times, so they won't exactly mind this. Big run from Luciano Gonzalez. He really needs to try not to get injured, though, for the last few seconds of this contest. Yes, 29 points to 14 does look a bit one-sided, but like I said, it's what happens next. Whether or not the South Africans can get the win over the Kiwis will be soon confirmed. A little bit of a slip there. Now Luciano Gonzalez goes for the offload again. Argentina still have a little bit of fight left in the tank by the looks of it. Azutsuk trying to get rid of Ricardo James Duarte. Getting into the breakdown was Xander Reinders. Palandini short side. It will be the try for Argentina to close out this game. It will not be enough to get themselves the win, but it is going to be Zangara. Gets his first try of the LA Sevens. Like I said, a nice finish to the game. These two sides could meet again, whether that is in a bronze final or the final itself. I don't think this one is quite done. In fact, both of them will be favourites heading into their next matches. Sure, thanks, bro. Says return of good story, bro. But it is a big win for the South Africans. They will go undefeated throughout their group stage. And kick from Argentina has also gone over. So end score in this contest, even though the scoreboard is a little bit behind, there we go. It has now caught up 29 points to 21. So the South Africans will get themselves, of course, the winning points. Argentina, for being outside of 7, do not get any points from this fixture, but we will be scheduling all of those live streams in the relatively near future. So anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, because of course we have got plenty of that Sevens. And then the week after, we're back into the URC Super Rugby and all sorts too. So yeah, be sure to check that out. But thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all for the next one.